Podcast at Ground Zero is presented to you by the Apocalypse. Because without the Apocalypse we wouldn't be doing this show.
Greetings, friends of the Apocalypse. This is Podcast at Ground Zero, your home for the Apocalypse, for episode 92, Doomlands. I am the Apocalypse Nerd. He is Adam Bomb Glancy. Welcome to the Wastelands.
Welcome, mutants.
All right, so
we got a really tasty little small nibble of Apocalypse that we've just discovered, but I should have let you go ahead and give us some of the back roundup news. Do we have any roundup news in the Wasteland?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, we don't normally do that now, but just a couple of things. There's one thing I want to touch on. I had somebody post a comment about the YouTube channel, because I made some changes to it. Now, let me just, if you haven't listened to the show and you don't know us at all, to be clear, I don't want us to be a YouTube channel. I never did, okay? And what happened recently is I removed all the videos on the YouTube channel that had videos of us or anybody else. The only ones I left up are the ones that were just audio with a static image, which I started to do after a certain, like in the late 70s episodes. Now, why we were originally on YouTube was because at the time when we started doing this over a decade ago, there wasn't any real easy ways for us to record multiple channels in different parts of the country, because I'm in Florida, he's in Seattle. It wasn't easy. And YouTube, or actually Google Hangouts, had the best option, because it's like, you know what? It's just it's a video chat, it records it, and the side effect was that it posted it. So I'm like, okay, well, it's a necessary evil, and somebody wants some of your coffee. And what I would do is then just, rip the audio, and then I started posting the audio to blog, because I just wanted to be an audio podcast. So it was a necessary evil. Now, this went on for years. It got to the point where, they got rid of Google Hangouts, and they made it to where to actually record on YouTube was complicated. You needed these extra programs and all this bullshit. I wanted nothing to do with it. So, fortunately, at the time that happened, other options became more viable. Like, initially, we thought, it would be great if we could use Skype. Oh, but Skype doesn't record. But at that time, Skype started recording, so I could do recordings and just get the audio. And Zoom records, and I could just get the audio. So all these better tools, free tools, let me say. I could have paid for stuff, but I didn't want to. But free tools came about to where I could just start recording the audio. So now we just record the audio and I post it on the blog. Because again, the central hub for the podcast is the blog, where you can listen to them. It then posts it to iTunes. But then also, it also goes out from, I believe the RSS feed. You could get it on your favorite pod feeder. I think there's different, pod readers like maybe Podbean, I think. Some of the ones have that feed. So there's other ways to listen to it. Again, I just wanted to be a traditional podcast audio. So I removed all those videos because I'm like, you know what? I don't care. And because
it's more than that. You do care. We didn't want to be a YouTube channel.
Yeah. And it was not an interest of mine. And because I listen to everything on my phone, and you can't really do YouTube that well on the phone unless you have premium. It was never a thing I wanted. So I started removing those videos. Now, what'll happen is, at some point down the road, probably way down the road, as soon as I maybe get a fraction of the stuff off my plate, so it's going to take a long time, I might start reposting onto the YouTube channel. What I started doing is just the audio track with just a static image, because you have to have a static image for a video. So I'll probably do those and put those back on the YouTube channel for whoever likes to listen to it on, like there's some people who will only listen to it on YouTube, and I apologize. You're probably not hearing this because you're not, it's not YouTube. So, But it's
run our critics.
Yeah, it's too much to maintain all these different avenues of, it's like, I'm going to do the audio here, I'm going to do the podcast here, we're going to put it on this pod feeder, then we're going to put it on the YouTube channel. I don't have time for all that. I have one place. The central is the blog. It's all the audio is posted there, and then it goes out to the different feeders, pick up on it. So, because I only bring this up because somebody on the blog had said, what happened to the YouTube channel? And it's like, that's a fair question. So, I did answer them, and I just wanted to answer anybody who may be listening to this on the normal podcast. You're probably not watching on YouTube anyway, so it's kind of pointless. But one of these days when this gets posted onto the YouTube channel, then they'll know the whole story. So, and that's all I wanted to say about that.
Ta-da!
Yeah,
all right.
So that's why. So if you perchance listen to this and you see that, hey, what happened to the YouTube's videos? It's like, well, because I just explained it in the last 5 minutes. So, all right. So I came across Doomlands. Now, Doomlands is a animated TV series, post-apocalyptic, that's on Roku TV. So it's kind of
we're going obscure, but
it's kind of buried because it's not the main streaming channels. It's not like a Prime or a Netflix or even a Hulu. It's on Roku TV. So it's getting it's kind of like out there a little bit. And I only know this because I have a Roku stick. So I have the Roku channel, so I have a Roku account. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to have a Roku device to watch it. All you have to do is make a Roku account. So you can go to Roku, I believe it says Roku.com. You could create a Roku account, and you can watch it on the web. Or if I know Apple has an app for Roku, probably Android has one too, and you could log into the app, and then you can watch it on the app. So it's easily accessible. You don't need to pay for anything. Roku's a free account, and you don't have to have a Roku. So you can watch it on your computer, or you can watch it on your phone if you have the app. So it's a post-apocalyptic animated series, super super tongue in cheek. Okay, guys, it's not like some kind of serious post-apocalyptic.
They're taking the piss. When it comes to the apocalyptic genre. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. It's, it's been called a cross between Mad Max and Cheers. That's,
as filtered through Rick Sanchez. It's got, there's elements of the kind of humor that you're going to find in things like Rick and Morty, or, maybe in, it doesn't quite move as fast as like, Seth Meyers stuff, like Family Guy or American Dad. It doesn't move that quick.
No, people have compared it to Rick and Morty and Super Jail, which was an animated an animated series on Cartoon Network on the Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Now,
that's pretty close. That's pretty fair.
So this series, again, guys, it's not a lot of your time. It's not a heavy investment. The episodes are 11 minutes long, and there's only 10 of them right now. So you got about 100 and let's do the math. Let's see, 10, 110. So you got about 120 minutes of content. That's it. So it's pretty quick, pretty dirty, not a huge investment. Again, very lighthearted. Now it seems to be set in a post-apocalyptic. I think it's Australia. It seems like it's Australia.
Yes. They wouldn't have mangaroos and all those koala bears clinging to everything if it wasn't Australia.
Yeah.
So I'm saying my money's on Australia. Plus, there's a few accents that turn up. Jeff, or whatever his name is, the one character is very Australian. There are definitely Australian accents all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not a serious apocalypse. It's definitely lighthearted. The premises of there's a bar that's a mobile bar called the Oasis, and
giant tank.
It's a giant land crawler on treads that goes around and brings the bar wherever it needs to go. It's been seen sometimes they've had it underground, sometimes they've had it above ground. It just goes everywhere. The main character, Danny Doom, has this reputation, with the bar, and like I said, it's very tongue in cheek. You see some lots of post-apocalyptic tropes all throughout the series.
Oh yeah. They They hit all the things you want. They bring us cannibal mutants and horrible gladiatorial games, and we even get we definitely get a taste of Fury Road there at the end, except with beer instead of water.
Yeah.
Since it's Australia, the juice, the precious juice, is not gasoline. It is beer. They have to get, when the beer supply is cut off, that's when things get bloody. And it's the animation is very reminiscent of Dan Harmon's animation from Rick and Morty. If you've ever seen any of the post-apocalyptic worlds that they've traveled to in Rick and Morty, yeah, they're definitely touching on some of that style.
Well, yeah, that's definitely more of a contemporary style of animation at this point. Like, a lot of people have adopted that type of style for stuff.
Yeah, agreed. But some of the best horrible shit is just stuff that's in the background that you sort of like the small throwaway jokes you barely get, like the woman who stole his 2 live animals sewed together, and you'll have these characters in the background, at the bar where, there's just, the mutants are one thing, but I'm always amused by, like, the horribly mangled people at the bar, like missing limbs, but drinking at the bar. The sort of throwaway jokes that are off on the side are some of the best things about it. So it's worth keeping your eyes open.
Oh yeah, there's always something going on in the background.
Yeah.
There's always something. But, like I always say with stuff, it's not Shakespeare by any means.
It may not be Shakespeare, but it has added a new phrase to my vocabulary: the cucking chair. Don't move. I'll be right back. I'll gotta get my cucking chair. I'm like, oh god, oh wow, yeah. As far as will they go there? They go there, especially on the gore. Holy crap, Jared! They will kill some motherfuckers on this show. Just, hey, I was just beginning to like that character, and now they're dead. They're not shy about the blood and gore and the character elimination on this particular show at all.
Yep, there's a lot of big cast of characters. You have your probably 5 are the main 5 main characters. Plus, you see a lot of recurring characters, and there's a lot of people that just go in and out without much thought. You see some people, you never see him again. You figure, this was a big deal, this character.
Or better than that, you see a character like, oh, this is going to be recurring, and then they're just killed, as a joke the next episode. You're like, oh, wow, that was a lot of investment for someone they just stepped on with a giant robot foot. Holy crap. That's a lot of intestines shooting out of their mouth. Oh, okay.
And again, things move fast in the show because each episode is 11 minutes.
Yeah, they don't waste a lot of time.
Well, they're following that early Adult Swim model that started way back in the right around 2000. I think when Adult Swim first started, when it was still good. And a lot of this stuff, a lot of these shows they did 15 minutes. That's it. In, out, tell the story, and that format worked very well for a lot of shows. And let's be honest,
it's 15 minutes with a commercial break, which really means it's an 11-minute show. You are getting 2 in every half hour, and you get that commitment to making sure the audience doesn't have time to get bored. Really smart. You drag that shit out to 22 minutes or half an hour.
Perfect example. Metalocalypse. When that show first came out, it was the 15-minute format. It was great. They told the story, in, out, done, quick. But then, when it got successful, they extended it to a half hour, went down the tubes. Like it's like, okay, this is way too fucking long now. It's like the premise of the whole premise of the cartoon and each episode, you got to get it. You got to tell it quick and move. You can't drag this shit out. 15 minutes is the right format. Well, actually, you know what? Beavis and Butthead did that back in the early 90s. Like, it was a half-hour show, but there was multiple little segments.
Yeah, that stood on their own.
You couldn't have one arc go a half hour. It's way too long and boring. You tell your story, get in. With this format, this content, this material, tell your story, get in, get out. That's it. You make it any longer, it's not going to work.
Yep, agreed. And I'm actually a big fan of telling these stories that short. There was a God, what was that? Speaking of animated nonsense, I'm suddenly reminded, and this is the kind of thing I should have been reminded of before the show because I could look it up. What was the? Wasn't there some sort of weird semi-post-apocalyptic barbarian fantasy cartoon that was making fun of the fantasy genre? There was like, it was a hair's breadth away from being called Grognak the Barbarian, like the comic from Fallout. But it was
there were some
it was another one that, like, maybe they did 30 minutes of material and you could catch it in like 3 8-minute segments, or so, and then that was it. I remember seeing it maybe on YouTube or something like that. Does that ring any bells with you?
I remember that there was, I can't remember the name of it now. There was this pilot of this fan. It was like
yes, you're right. You're right. It was a pilot.
It was a pilot of like a fantasy, kind of Conan-ish type of kind of guy, and pilot never went anywhere. But again, quick short content, and that's what this is. It's tongue in cheek. It's not serious. You get a lot of it's set in like the massive post-apocalyptic war wag.
It does have the war wag, the bar wag, bar wag one.
Lots of weird, nonsensical shit. Again, it's not serious at all, by any means. But you know what? I'm kind of neutral on it. I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it. I wasn't like, oh my god, you have to see this. But there were some moments. There was some good stuff in it. And again, it's not a huge time sink, so it's worth at least looking at.
Looking forward to the next time they do more.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm curious
to see what they do.
Another
10 minutes, I'll watch another 10 minutes. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I mean, if these were slogged out to 30-minute, 45-minute episodes, no, I'd be like, okay, we're done. But you feed it to me in little bites, like here comes the train, woo woo. I can do it,
Sorry, I was about to say as we're getting older, our attention span, along with our faculties, is beginning to erode, and we need to we need to get what we want quick before we lose attention.
Here comes the train, woo woo.
Oh my god!
And then that's it. It's in, it's out, done. It's like, okay, now on to the next bite. That's exactly what it is. You're focused on the one bite, getting the train, eat it, and you're like, okay, great. Now what?
And I gotta tell you, having watched 10 episodes of Doomlands, we're gonna get around to talking sometime soon about Station 11, which is some more apocalypse and post-apocalypse for everybody. But that's one that, you had to watch for 11 hours. There's 11 hours of material there.
Yeah, I haven't even started that. But I'll eventually get to that. I'm almost through All of Us Are Dead.
Okay, good. I've just started All of Us Are Dead.
I got 2 more episodes, and it's one of these. We'll do that one next. It's one of those things where I did a lot of fast forwarding.
Oh dear.
Because there is 12 episodes of that. We'll get into that. Was a bit long. There's a lot of the kids bonding. Like, oh my god, I could skip through this next 5 to 10 minutes of them, getting all kumbaya. Okay, let's go. Okay, I would literally skip through that stuff because it's like, okay, this is so boring. Let's get to something a little more interesting.
You know what I think of? I think of Black Summer. They had some bonding in Black Summer, but there was never a point in Black Summer where I was hitting the fucking fast forward button because everything happened.
You would have missed
fast.
Everything. You would have missed it.
Everything. Exactly. That's a bad sign. I liked my bonding in Black Summer, where everyone looks around and goes, "Are you alive? Yeah, I'm alive. I guess we're on the same team now." Moving on. 2 minutes before they were shooting at each other, it's like, well, I guess we're the survivors of the firefight. I guess we're divvying up the supplies, teammate, and that's it. That's all the decisions you have to make because everything's a transaction. Everything's moving so fast in that world.
Yeah, so we'll get into All of Us Are Dead. Like I said, I got 2 more episodes left. It's been difficult to get through, but anyway, but Doomlands, folks, if you have a Roku, great, you already have access. If you don't, just go to Roku.com, just create a login. and you can watch it right there on the computer. It's 10 episodes, again, 11 minutes. It's easy, quick, very, again, like I said, very tongue-in-cheek, very lighthearted, comical. It's an animated comedy. It's a comedy, but it's kind of interesting. It's got some cool, it's had some cool, like, post-apocalyptic stuff, like, oh, yeah, hey, that wouldn't be bad in a campaign. It's got some interesting little things to it, so if you want something light, post-apocalyptic, I'd recommend watching it.
Very Gamma World. Very Gamma World.
Oh yeah, a lot of Gamma World-ish stuff. Again, very Wahoo. It's Wahoo. It's very Wahoo.
Definitely.
But it's worth your time. So yeah, and that's all we really have to say about it, folks. Because we're trying to take this new approach, is because we have this dichotomy when we review stuff. Scott tends to want to tell you way too much. Everything. And I want to try to tend to tell you absolutely nothing. So we're trying to find, we're working together to find this happy balance of, like, I'm like, no, don't tell too much. He's like, oh, but we got to tell them this. We're working it out to try to make it to where we give you just enough to entice you.
Every episode is a miniature Thunderdome. 2 reviews enter, 1 review leaves.
Yeah, that's
and usually that review is a Frankenstein monster of both reviews stitched together after the reviews have eaten each other. That's how that works.
Oh yeah, it's a bastard half breed, that's for sure.
It is a chimera.
Yeah,
an abomination.
It is. So that's what we're trying to be better about that, because I'm always like, it's like, Scott, you tell too much, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't tell enough. So we're trying to make a little balance, folks.
With 11 hours of material on All of Us Are Dead and another 11 hours for Station 11, I think we'll have room to talk about it, because oh my God, there's so much.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah, we definitely need to talk about, because like I said, I'm not going to talk about All of Us Are Dead, because we're going to do a whole episode to that. So all right, but that's all we got. That's all we got, folks. Because again, it was a short show. Again, worth your time. And again, I try to relegate the off-topic stuff to the off-topic episodes. So there you go. All right, so folks, so look forward to upcoming episodes. We're definitely going to do All of Us Are Dead and Station 11. Scott needs to finish All of Us Are Dead. I need to start and finish Station 11. So we got a couple of shows we're going to definitely do reviews on once we finish getting through the content, because it's a lot of hours of content.
Yeah, exactly. And I got to admit, Jared, when it comes to content, if you can't get through the content, that's your review. We were talking about something else, another show before we started, and, he was describing, man, I tried one episode, couldn't get any further, and I'm like, well, that's the review.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't get any further, that's the review. You do not have to finish it. It's not like, oh, this sure seems like a turd burger. I wonder if the very last bite of this turd burger will suddenly turn into filet mignon.
It'll suddenly be delicious,
Yeah.
Well, but you have to get through it all. But you know what? But that's the case. There's been a lot of things that in the past that I've watched one episode, said, now fuck this shit. But then I've come back to it years later and go, oh, why didn't I give this a chance in the first place? It's...
Yeah. We were just also talking about that. But since it's not post-apocalypse, we'll leave it alone for the time being.
Yeah, we won't bore you with that, folks. We'll just bore you with everything else. So, all right. So, yep. So, I think we could both safely say that we're gonna it's got a two mushroom clouds up for Doomlands. It's worth your time to check out, just because again it's not a lot of content, and again it's amusing. So again, it's on Roku TV. So just if you don't have Roku, get an account. Future episodes, like I said, we're going to do Station 11 and All of Us Are Dead. Plus, there's other stuff out there as we get through it. We'll do some more reviews. And
I got to tell you, COVID's been very good for the post-apocalypse business.
Yeah. There's been a lot of stuff coming out, but we won't. Let's that's the thing that should not be named. Let's not.
Ooh, all right, the C word.
Yeah, let's not talk about the C word, because
we'll put it right there next to the other C word we're not allowed to use.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who listen to this are very offended us for even talking about it. So. Anyway, so that's it, folks. As always, thank you for your time with us, and we'll see you soon, and we will see you out in the wastelands. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
If you enjoy the content we produce, please consider supporting us with a cup of coffee. Go to ko-fi.com/PCAGZ for more details. Keep up to date with us by visiting podcast@groundzero.com and subscribe to the blog via email.